And joining us now is Highland Park Mayor Nancy Rotering. Madam Mayor, first of all, condolences to you. You're the comforter in chief for your community. And I know I've been watching you and what you've been doing, and I just can't even imagine being in that situation with those people all suffering. Tell me, what about the responsibility of the father who signed off on the gun purchase when he was 19? There have been two police
visits. That's a great question. That's a great question. And it's one that I asked the Illinois State Police. And they indicated to me that his father sponsored his application for firearms ownership ID card when he was under the age of 21. And at the time, there was not sufficient basis to establish a clear and present danger and deny the application. What that says to me is somebody bears responsibility, obviously, for this to not have been caught, for this likelihood of his behavior. Let's talk about the fact that stronger red flag laws are now being put into place, but they are only as good as the people around the person. And so family members, friends who knew he was planning this, who thought it was all a joke, should have said something, and there should have been an opportunity for us to stop this. The fact that this wasn't stopped, the fact that so many of these shootings aren't stopped because they are using legally acquired guns tells me that our laws aren't doing their job. They're not protecting us.
You know, I've been covering this issue for a long time, frankly, since the 1981 assassination attempt on President Reagan and Jim Brady and the way he suffered for his entire life. And it changed Ronald Reagan's view towards guns. People can change. And I know the president expressed frustration even as he was signing the compromise gun bill a week and a half or so ago. You met with the vice president last night. She came to visit with the first gentleman. Is there any chance that that anything could move on Capitol Hill? They could go back with Chris Murphy and others and try again to do something more aggressive on background checks?
I'm urging everybody who will listen to do more. There is no reason that the United States is the only country in the civilized world that allows this kind of carnage to happen with so much regularity, to allow these guns that were basically designed to be effective in combat to be accessible to people all across the country. We as a city passed an assault weapons ban and large capacity magazine ban in 2013 in the wake of Sandy Hook. That represented our values. We felt that we needed to take that stand. We had a very brief opportunity from the state of Illinois legally to do so, and we did. I've been working with the state pretty much ever since our ordinance was adjudicated to be constitutional to remove any limitations in Illinois if other communities want to pass these bans. But let's be really clear. We don't need a patchwork. We need a nationwide effort to get rid of these combat weapons. There is no place for these in our society. This has been borne out now over and over and over again. I've heard from so many mayors who have gone through this very experience. They've sent me the handbook that is sent to mayors post-mass shootings. What does this say about us as a country? We have a handbook for mayors after a mass shooting? That's ridiculous. So, Mitch McConnell gave his speech, I believe it was yesterday, about mental health. Let me be clear. There are mental health issues in every country in this world. There are not mass shootings on such a regular basis anywhere else, and this has got to stop.
I heard you say that in several of your interviews, and frankly, I'm grateful to hear you say that. You said that you never thought that you'd be one of those mayors, and that it can happen anywhere. And your town is as iconic in every town USA as there could be, from the movies that have been featured there. Home Alone, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I mean, we all feel we know Highland Park. We've all gone to July 4th parades as recently as, 2 days ago in our communities. And, as you say, there are mental health problems all over the world, but there aren't these kinds of mass shootings.
Right. I have to tell you, the story that stays with me and will haunt me for the rest of my life was of Aiden McCarthy. I got the call, whose baby is this? And I said, how are we going to figure this out? He had blood on his feet. He had been found under his father, who was on top of him to protect him from the gun. He was being passed around in an underground garage because nobody could figure out whose child it was. And when I realized that nobody was panicking and looking for a baby, there could only be one conclusion. I almost threw up. It was unbelievable that this poor little boy came with his parents just to celebrate freedom and now has lost his parents. These stories are week after week after week. It is disgusting to me that anybody thinks that this is an okay way for our country to continue to operate. And we need those who can make the change to make the change, or they need to be fired. They need to be removed from office. We need to run for office and take our country back. I'm sorry I'm so angry, but I am angry. I'm angry for my community. I'm angry for Aiden McCarthy. I'm angry for the kid who next week is going to be Aiden McCarthy. This needs to end.
And I share that, and I usually am very, very careful about being down the middle on this, on all issues. But, you know, when I saw those interviews about Aiden McCarthy, I was going to ask you about the little boy. And Cassie, you know, Cassie Goldstein
looking for her mom. They were in the basement of an anthropology, hiding for their lives. Not only did we have this carnage happen, but then everybody had to hide for hours because he was on the loose and nobody knew what he was going to be doing next. People were hiding in the basements of gas stations for hours. Cassie, I kept getting texts because we're all a community. We're all a family. Cassie was a band member. I'm a band mom. It's unbelievable to me. Where's Cassie's mom? And we called every hospital. Nobody had her because she had already passed away. Katie Goldstein was a fabulous human being. She did not deserve to die this way. All the band parents show up to cheer on the band. And when I saw the band racing down the sidewalk, for the life of me, I was like, where are they going? Why are they running down the street? It was so incomprehensible that war had basically come to Central Avenue in Highland Park. I'm still processing it. It doesn't make sense. And I can't get why this country thinks that this is an okay way for people to live. They can't go to the grocery store. They can't go to the park. They can't worship. They can't go to school. I'm a teacher. Uvalde happened. And I looked around my classroom and I thought, what do we do? What do we do? This is a nonsense way to operate a country. We need better from our national leaders. We just do.
Mayor Nancy Rotering, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your pain and your outrage. We all need to hear it.
Thank you, Ann. Thank you.